Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight. We got a big show for you this evening. Of course, we're going to talk about what happened in the Broncos-Saints game. We will get into Garrett Bolles' contract, as well as Steve Atwater is going to join us and give us his thoughts on seeing Kendall Hinton out there starting at quarterback. A very rare situation where all four quarterbacks are no longer available for the roster for game day. Had to start a rookie wide receiver instead. Ben, let's start there, though, because you got to give me a little bit of background. What ultimately led to Kendall Hinton as the starter versus the Saints?
Well, it's just one of those rare circumstances that probably won't happen again in my lifetime. But on Tuesday, the quarterback room decided to come into the field house. They decided to have a film study session on the day off, getting prepared for the New Orleans game. All four quarterbacks came in. They did have masks. They did have contact tracers. They were socially distant inside the room. However, they pulled those masks down at times to eat and to communicate and let themselves slip on the protocols. On Wednesday, Jeff Driscoll tested positive. Now, he was notified on Thursday, but he tested positive on Wednesday. With that having said, they went back, did the contact tracing, determined the guys were all together in that room in close proximity on Tuesday, and went back and said, okay, well, these guys are high risk. So then the team sends a video of that to the league, either Thursday night or Friday morning, saying, hey, look, these guys had masks. They did, they were following the protocols to the most part, et cetera, thinking that would clear them. They did not hear back from the league for over 30 hours, finally hearing back right before practice on Saturday, after having been led to believe that Drew Lock and the rest of them were fine for the week, telling them that they were not fine. They were considered high risk because of the video, and they would be out. The team sought an exemption for offensive quality control guy Rob Calabrese, who played quarterback at UCF, to play. Unfortunately, that's against league rules, was not allowed to. So they went with the next option they had, a guy who played 2 seasons or half of 2 seasons at quarterback at Wake Forest, and Kendall Hinton, and the legend was born.
You know, it's interesting to me about the Calabrese stuff because this is just such a weird year anyways. Nothing about this season for the NFL has been completely on script. And I understand the NFL's reasoning for that because they don't want teams to start hiding players off their active roster in their coaching staff ranks. But at the same time, there has to be some amount of concession because, look, we're making concessions all over the place.
Well, right. And I would figure if you were ever going to make the concession, that would be it. But you're right. The idea behind not allowing coaches to play is to keep teams like the New England Patriots, who would absolutely abuse this,
absolutely
from circumventing the salary cap and allowing coaches, hiding players on the thing as coaches and going from there. So overall, I think it was the right call by the NFL. You didn't need to set a precedent. At this point, Rob Calabrese or Kendall Hinton, it wasn't going to make a difference. And Kendall made for the better story, I think, when all's said and done, even though as Broncos fans, we're probably upset at the loss. I think the Kendall Hinton thing was kind of fun. And, in the end, if it was going to be a loss, why not have some fun and have some history with it?
Yeah, definitely had a lot of intrigue, both locally and nationally. Let's talk about what we're going to be looking at going forward, because I think even though there is intrigue there and was kind of an interesting storyline there for a couple of days, I don't think any NFL team ever wants to put themselves in this situation ever, specifically the Broncos ever again. So where do the Broncos go from here? It looks like the quarterbacks, the 3 other quarterbacks have all cleared protocols, at least as we're recording this. So they should be set. The Broncos are bringing in Kyle Shurmur and expected to sign him this week. So tell me a little bit about what the quarterback room is going to look like and what the Broncos maybe learn from this.
Well, you may recognize that last name. Kyle Shurmur is the son of offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur.
Did I bury the lead on that? I'm sorry.
I felt like we left the obvious part out. No, I think that he's there to be the emergency guy, honestly. He'll be quarantined from the rest of the team, away from it just in case a situation like this happens. And honestly, it's a good deal for everybody. Derek Mason just got fired at Vanderbilt, where Kyle was the offensive quality control guy. So, he gets to come in. He has familiarity. It's just a good deal for everybody. It doesn't cost the Broncos anything but minimum salary. So that will be the emergency plan. Now, I will say around the league, there are a lot of emergency plans where teams are coordinating one of their quarterbacks to be out at all times. Every day, they're going to have one guy on Zoom and everybody else is in the room and go from there. How effective that is remains to be seen, but that's what the league is learning from the Broncos example. All quarterbacks have cleared protocols as we record this on Tuesday morning, and have no positives. So we expect a full quarterback room minus Jeff Driscoll for the Chiefs game this weekend.
But we always knew at this point the NFL was going to be using the Broncos as a bit of an example. And it's up to the teams, I guess, to learn from that example. I mean, the example goes kind of both ways. I think the NFL using the Broncos is a bit of an example as a cautionary tale. Follow protocols, or we're going to come. We don't care about competitive advantage if it wipes out your entire quarterback room. But what the lesson here, I think, not only for the Broncos, but for the rest of the league is, it's something that was a conversation in the offseason. We talked about this in the freaking summer, man. And this was a topic that came up of you should probably keep one quarterback away from everybody else. And the moment that Jeff Driscoll tested positive, that maybe should have been an indicator. It sounds like the Broncos, though Vic Fangio said initially, hey, if we follow protocols, this isn't going to be a thing. It sounds like the Broncos are at least hedging a little bit here.
Yeah, and I think the other part of this is the Broncos had originally planned to do that. And I think what happened, the real lesson here is don't get lax. I think on a macro scale, the team kind of had adopted the mindset, hey, we've gone this far. We had a few things, but we've been pretty good about this. We're good. And on a micro scale, the quarterbacks in that room just let their guard down for a minute and we're pulling them down while they were talking. And I think that's the real lesson here. Don't get lax. You always got to, Vic Fangio came onto this team talking about death by inches. I think that's what it is. Death by literal, could be literally be death by inches in a lot of cases here. So I think that's the lesson to be learned here.
I certainly hope the lesson maybe for some fans is you can't really come off the couch and expect to play quarterback in the league, because we do see that on Twitter from time to time.
Yeah, I think that if there's any one thing that this game showed, it's guy on his couch with a beer in his hand saying, I could go out there and do that. Absolutely, laughably could not do that.